Hello, everybody. So this is part B of the getting to the meat of Charlie's YouTube content. Part A was like over 30 minutes long, and I never even got to the executive functioning part of his content, like how he does that and how it might be useful to learn that if that's something that you want to kind of like like go toward as a content creator because you're a fan of Charlie's content. Um, I don't even think I really, um, got a single word in about that. But I mean, now I will be able to get that chance. Also, I feel like I kind of may have made it a little bit confusing previously about when Charlie is doing basically his content and like how I'm saying like it's not open to interpretation, but it could be you know misconstrued as like an insult when it's actually like meant to be entertaining and not serious or 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 vice versa. Um, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and get that out of the way right now. Actually, um, so when Charlie makes his content like that, basically what is going on is that he he means exactly what he's saying, but it's not an issue of whether or not he has um, used the right words or something, um, and that could be an actual issue going forward that he has to kind of redo his video and re-explain what he meant because of the fact that he said something that you know didn't really fully illustrate what he wanted to say, because he is going to say what he wants to say. you know he organizes that beforehand and he has experience in that. But what is hard to tell from Charlie's video is the emotional part of it. If he's angry and he wants it to be known that this is actually something that he wants to, point out as, and like this is an insult or something like that. This is going to be something that severs a potential connection to like some content creator because it's basically like you know this is something that he's angry about and he doesn't like it. um, Obviously, if there's context to the video or the content in particular that makes it obvious that he probably is angry about it, then yeah, okay, sure. But if it's like not obvious because it's not like some extreme viewpoint or something that everybody is probably gonna be you know really upset about it equally, not just because they're a fan of Charlie and they're going to agree with him, but because the situation that he is talking about is so plainly obvious that there is no room for interpretation. That is going to be abundantly clear in those videos. When it is not clear, it could be something that is really kind of hit or miss in terms of how people might feel about something. Um, and so, you know, Charlie would probably be aware of that and put up that in his video, but when he actually goes and like says what he's gonna say, if it's something goofy, for instance, like something that someone made a mistake and Charlie's making fun of it, like you know he's not gonna go and say like, well, hey guys, don't harass this person, okay? He made a mistake, I'm just insulting him for what he did, but I don't really hate him or anything. I'm not gonna be, you know, I'm not really meaning what I'm saying as an insult. It's just for entertainment. Like he's not gonna explicitly say that all the time, It's not something that comes to him. He's not thinking about that kind of thing. It's actually a distraction to the content if he makes like this effort, like 5 minutes of time trying to explain that, because you know it would just be a waste of time for Charlie. um, if Charlie had to do that as like something to kind of burn, like a fire has burned and he's trying to like kind of unburn it, get rid of the flames, then he'll make a video and then he will explain those things. But it's like kind of takes like double the effort for him, because he doesn't really do that on a regular basis. And so, you know, it kind of ends up being like where Charlie shows respect for other content creators, but draws the line accidentally when he doesn't explicitly state that he's just doing this for, you know, basically like entertainment or something, and it's not really like meant to be like gospel. He's not trying to dissuade other people, other fans of other content creators, away from liking that person or something or whatever. That isn't really the whole thing that he's trying to do there. That's not it at all. And so, like, some people might consider him to be a bit of a narcissist by that, because he's like, you know, putting all this attention on this story, but he doesn't really mean it. Like, he doesn't want to start like a shitstorm. That doesn't compute in everybody's brains equally. But for Charlie, you know, it's kind of a waste of time to just go over that and put in, extra fluff or words or whatever that don't really contribute to expressing his opinion, or like the content specifically, maybe not like particularly his opinion, but like, it's that's where, you know as a content creator with communication issues, it's gonna just happen that way and potentially be a problem if you're kind of struggling with, like trying to get the words out that you're trying to establish in a certain opinion or a message that is not meant to be like taken seriously. Like for Charlie, I'm saying it will take more effort for him to convey that, but for someone with communication issues, it could be 3 times, it could be 4 times, it could be a lot more difficult. It could be impossible to really do that, you know. In that situation, and I'm talking about even like, like actual antisocial personality disorder or anything like that. Like if that's the mental health condition that you have, but you're trying to make content and all that, then that is something you have to consider and find a way to make that not a problem. And it might just kind of draw you away from wanting to do the content because it's just not something that really, like that amount of effort to make it not ambiguous is gonna be so astronomical that you're gonna feel just overwhelmed by it. And that's an issue that you're gonna have to figure out, um, with either experience or maybe kind of choose the kind of content that you want to do based around maybe don't doesn't really involve those communication parts that you might have issues with, um, because then you don't really have to deal with repercussions of that, and it doesn't really make such a horrible you know negative impact on you going forward if it's gonna end up being a problem or something. And so yeah. Um, Now for the executive functioning part, Charlie's scheduling and stuff like that, for YouTube content is very interesting because he picks the times that, really gets the most amount of people. And so, like, for instance, I scheduled my YouTube video yesterday for, like 8:15 p.m. Eastern time because I knew that most people would be on around that time, that I wanted to let them see the video. And also because I was aware that Charlie makes videos at specific times as well, and because my video is about Charlie, I don't want it to coincide with the at the hour, you know, intervals or anything like that that would make it that people would watch, only one of the two things that pop up in the recommendations. Um, so I mean, there is a methodology and a schedule that could be very effective from a rational perspective, and you should take advantage of that. And Charlie definitely does that, and a lot of content creators do that as well. But you got to really nail that down because it requires doing things ahead of time and scheduling it. You can't really just procrastinate it and then end up doing it later on. Like, for instance, I'm doing this part B video right after I did the part A one, because I didn't want to wait another day and procrastinate it while it was still fresh in my mind and I was able to get it out. Um, but likely I will still schedule it in a way that it doesn't, impede with the flow of the, basically my content and the way that Charlie's content possibly could conflict with mine. So, um, I just wanted to put that out as an example. Um, Executive functioning also gets more complicated as you're a bigger streamer or YouTube content creator. It'll get like you have to deal with financial situations, taxes, especially if you're in America. Um, you're gonna have like a quarter of your income taken away from taxes, or more from making this content, and it's going to be nuts, and you have to deal with it, and that's something you have to consider when making these things. And it's going to have to be something that you practice, and everybody's also going to have to practice it too if they're going to make money here, and what you plan to do with that money as well. So yeah, I mean, there is sort of an American, I guess, loophole you could say with taxes is if you donate the money, it's really like not really like considered income for you, and that you don't have to take those ridiculous taxes off. Um, it's not a loophole. I mean, in the sense that you're kind of screwing the IRS or anything because you don't get the money after, but you know there are ways that you could consider, you know, as a benefit to, making it less of a struggle to figure out how much you owe in taxes and stuff like that, if that's going to be something you're going to pursue, and also, you know, if you want to do different types of content as well, then you're gonna want to make it very clear, make a way to tell if that's gonna be different kind of content, like a different thumbnail, a different, like style or format of your YouTube titles, maybe a different channel, but considering whether or not that will affect the ability for you to go forward making videos that will be seen by people, you may have to be a little bit creative with that, and so that takes a little bit of time, um, and stuff like that. and Charlie doesn't. Sorry, Charlie doesn't really do a lot differently when it comes to different kinds of content, except if it has like a thumbnail that is from an article, because that content is gonna have the article basically in that video, and so it would make sense for Charlie to put a clip from that content into the thumbnail. Um, that's what he does basically. I mean, it's a similar kind of thing, right? You know, it's categorizing your content without making 20 different YouTube channels. So, um, yeah, I mean that's another thing to really consider. Um, I don't think really there's a whole lot more to like the executive functioning as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there are those like YouTube like partner managers or something like that. I don't know exactly what the deal with is that, but I mean that is possibly something that could be a thing for you if you're gonna get a sponsorship and all that thing, all that stuff. So I mean, you have to be responsible for that if you're gonna go out and end up getting to that level. And then, that would be something kind of done privately, not really, shown or, expanded upon in your content specifically. Now, of course, you do have to be wary of, things that could potentially get you banned. Obviously, there are rules that YouTube will have privately. That isn't like you know it has to be in like the terms of service. But I mean, YouTube also isn't really the best kind of example to look at a terms of service and know that something might get blacklisted or banned or demonetized or what have you. Um, like, I mean, anything goes, I guess. It's like the wild west. I can't even say that word without making it sound like I'm saying rest. But anyway, um, yeah. So I don't think there's anything else to really go over right now. Um, I hope you enjoyed learning about the inner workings of content creation, and hopefully you enjoyed this. Bye bye.